Well, hello and welcome back to our survival series in The Long Dark. So in the last two videos, we've discussed the topic of long-term goal setting and creating a sort of rolling plan to spend certain types of days doing certain types of activities, such as only harvesting on sunny days. Well, all of these ideas and concepts come together to form something known as a playstyle. If you haven't heard the term or are unaware of it, your playstyle is typically something unique to you. It's how you subconsciously handle decisions and make changes to what you're doing based off of certain inputs and variables. If you want greater example of playstyle, go ahead and watch a couple of my gameplay videos and then compare them to, say, Jeltaz or Hadrian's way of playing the Long Dark. The differences will be subtle, but you'll find them. Or, if you're like me and you're lazy and you don't want to spend an hour or two faffing about on YouTube, the differences in playstyle will fall to subtle things, like preferences for certain types of clothing or tools, or the types of food we attempt to secure the quickest, what we deem to be acceptable risks versus what is too sketchy, the regions we like the best, etc. All of these variables and different things come together from their individuality to create a whole, your individual playstyle. And in this video, if you've ignored my lengthy explanation till now, I'll be explaining, haha, I used it twice, how to identify weaknesses in your playstyle so that you can make tweaks and changes to maximize your survival. Now, Lonely, you're probably saying, that's what you're for, to create these videos, tell me what's best, how to do something. You're so good at TLD that I've decided to make you my resident authority on the subject. Cool? I'm flattered? But here's the thing, I do things certain ways and chase after certain objectives in certain ways because I found that to be the best way for me to play. It doesn't make it the best way objectively overall or for everyone. And in order to get good at TLD, you'll have to start analyzing how you make tweaks to improve your playstyle rather than just trying to copy how someone else does it. Trust me, I've tried it, it's hard, it's annoying, it isn't fun. Not recommended. Now, before you go getting too overwhelmed with this information, keep in mind this is going to be general advice across the board. It's not tuned to a specific difficulty or experience mode. I will have some breakdowns of each difficulty mode coming out soon as well, so that you can tune your playstyle based off of the experience mode you've picked. In this video, I'll not have difficulty specific tips. Alright, now we got that super lengthy and super boring bit out of the way, it's time to get down to business. Ask yourself, what do I struggle with the most? This could be securing food, handling aggressive wildlife, etc. Think back to your most recent negative encounter in whatever scope or situation it is that is your Achilles heel. What ended up going poorly for you? Did you chase after a kill too eagerly only to get caught in a blizzard? As you ponder what led to that demise, keep in mind that every decision you make is based on risk versus reward in the Long Dark. What we're trying to accomplish here is tuning your intuition about situations to win that coin toss more often than not. Which is why I've got very specific guides on different subjects, such as understanding the weather or avoiding wolves. Do note that no matter how good you get at the Long Dark and how long you've played, eventually you'll come across situations where you still end up making the wrong choice. But don't fret, that's just part of the game. I still do it all the time. Anyway, in order to tune your playstyle to maximize your success, you'll need to be constantly on your toes and thinking about the potential for things to go wrong, and what you can do if that happens. I'll give an example. Let's say you wake up to a bright, sunny morning with a little wind, and you're low on food. You've got no need for water or gear or anything else, so you decide to go hunting. Especially considering the current weather, there seems to be no bad choice here. However, it takes some time before you find a deer to hunt, and in that time, the winds come up. At this point, you gotta ask yourself, what is my plan going forward? Do I hunt the deer and then come back at a later date to harvest it as the wind will blow out my fire? Or do I want to risk hunting it at all right now? Maybe I want to go back and read some research books or do some crafting or whatever else I have on my plate that I'd like to accomplish. What you need to do is understand the potential risks of continuing before you do so, and then thinking about what you can do to change the plan on the fly to mitigate that. Well, in this example, let's say you deem it acceptable to go ahead and hunt the deer. You draw your bow and secure a lucky shot, but he doesn't die immediately and just goes sauntering off with your arrow in tow. Okay, that's fine. I mean, not the end of the world. But now you gotta ask yourself, do I pursue him to discover his whereabouts or do I change the plan? The weather's still decent, just windy, it's starting to get cold, but not terrible yet, and there's no wolves terribly close by. Okay, it's probably not a bad idea. Well, you find your deer after a bit and collect your arrow. Now that you're at your deer, well, what's changed? Has the terrain changed? Has the proximity to hostile wildlife changed? What do you do now? Do you go ahead and light a fire and harvest it, or not? This is where the rubber meets the road. So far in this example, we've had 3 areas where we could change our minds, and in each spot the risk of continuing on our initial plan wasn't very high. But if you go another step forward now, you'll be at risk of a minimum of 2 things. The wind blowing your fire out, and at this point, quite possibly making you go hypothermic. And 2, now you're super duper smelly with all that meat you've just harvested. Wolves will be coming soon, especially as you get scenty. If you deem that an acceptable risk, and the wind dies down and you get that meat cooked, or at least some of it, and you get back home safely, you're fine. But if you make that choice and the weather gets worse, you risk getting cold and losing condition, as well as drawing the local denizens to your now smelly hiney. So, to tweak your playstyle, you'll need to analyze every situation for its potential risk versus reward. We've talked about it before, and I'm going very in depth here to help you guys understand it more completely, so that you'll be armed with the knowledge of how to go about pursuing positive and impactful change to your playstyle. Every choice you make will present some risk to you. The question that needs to be considered most heavily, though, is how much and in what way. In the above example, it could be worsening weather or the potential to get eaten. In other scenarios, it could be a last-ditch effort to live another day, or it could be just that, another day. Try to analyze where your choices have led you to falter or get hurt and die, and think about every chance you had to either commit to that choice or make a change. Then, try to factor that in on a future run. Soon, you'll be making a majority of good and positively impactful choices in your runs that will lead to greater success. It's simply about identifying each point of progression along whatever plan you've begun on as to where there could be a change in variables, be it the wildlife, the weather, your personal health of your character in the game, your tools condition, your condition needs such as hunger and thirst, etc., where those are. Keeping on top of that and then asking yourself questions along the way. What would the potential be if things went south? If things go badly? What do I have the potential of losing here versus what I could potentially gain or what I need to gain? You know, what could I potentially lose out on by not committing to the choice, etc. As you think back over your past runs and in preparation for your future runs, just keep in mind that those are the things you'll want to keep tabs on in order to maximize your success in your decision making in the long dark and in tweaking individual portions of your playstyle to, work together in harmony to support your survival. I hope this has all made sense. I hope it's not just been me blathering for 30 seconds or however long it's been and not making any sense. I try to make these as concise as possible while still delivering the most information that you'll need to make in these considerations. If this video has been in any way helpful to you, go ahead and consider leaving a like or subscribing. As always, I've been Lonelywolf. I hope you guys have enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next one. Until then, stay safe and stay warm out there.